Well, I mean, the great challenge right now has to do not with what's happened over the past 4 years with the Obama presidency, or what's even happened over the past 12 years with the Obama and Bush presidency, but actually what's been going on in this country now for the past 30, 35 years. When I sit and hear Republicans blame the state of America's economy on Barack Obama, it's about as laughable as when I hear Democrats blaming George Bush for what happened over the past decade. We've got actually a systemic crisis that goes back at least to the early 1970s. You look at Jeffrey Sachs was on our show recently, and he has a new book out that talks about how the average wage of the American worker has been declining since 1973. Since 1973. You know, I remember, a lot of people watching this probably don't remember, but I remember the early 1970s, hearing my parents drive around when we lived in upstate New York and driving past shuttered factories where steel plants had once been, talking about how America was losing its way. That was back in the 70s. 1978, China globalized. That changed everything. You look at productivity in America. We're more productive today than we've ever been before. But if you listen to certain politicians, they'll tell you the reason why people are out of work in America is not because of productivity, but because we've outsourced our jobs to other countries. The fact of the matter is, if America's factories today were only as productive as they were in 1993, 20 million more Americans would be working right now. So we've got a lot of different things going on. We've got the challenges of globalization. We've got the challenges of a more competitive globe, of stagnating American wages. And again, this has been going on for decades now, not over the past 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years. And then on top of that, of course, this productivity challenge. How do we create an economy that rebuilds the middle class, which has been declining now for 30 years? The last thing American voters should think about, the last thing they should be drawn to, are politicians that talk in sound bites and promise that their side or their ideology offers the one true path to America's great renewal. I had a Republican senator on from a state that's been losing jobs now for decades. And I asked him, how can you kickstart your economy and get working class Americans back to work? And he started talking about less taxes, less spending, less regulations, the sort of things we were talking about back in the 1990s. It just sounds tired and old and unproductive, and sounds like a pat line that's not going to lead people back to work. You hear Barack Obama talking, and he gives speeches talking about trickle-down economics. Again, this sounds like an argument we had back in 1981 around Ronald Reagan's tax policies. It's laughable. It's a joke. And yet, ideologues in both parties, Republicans and Democrats alike, want you to believe that their way is the one true way, when the fact of the matter is they have no idea how to kickstart this economy and how to revive the country. Or if they do, they don't want to admit it, because Republicans don't want to admit we need tax reform that expands the tax base, and Democrats don't want to admit that we're going to have to make some pretty tough decisions on entitlement programs. We're going to have to make some tough choices about Medicare, about Social Security, and about not just saving those programs, but saving this country and requiring people who are 50 and younger to take their entitlement benefits when they get older, when they turn 70. As long as neither side's willing to talk about making those tough choices, we're unfortunately going to be in a country that's going to have a growing debt crisis.